Welcome to the Social Impact Level Up podcast. This is where we blur the lines between business, nonprofit, and impact. I'm your host, Wendy V, and in season 3, we're redefining success for social entrepreneurs looking to grow their revenue. If you have reality-changing ideas, this is the place for you. Let's jump right into today's episode. How do you know if you found your passion and you're really doing what you're supposed to be doing? Well, it might not feel like work at all. Today's expert is going to tell us exactly how to do that and how she is coaching other businesses, including people like me, to move either from part-time work or no work to having your own business and being empowered in that. I want to welcome Sairan Aqrawi to the podcast. Sairan, thank you for being here. And if you can introduce yourself and tell us, who are you and how do you make an impact?
Thank you, Wendy, and appreciate having me in your lovely platform. I'm glad to be here and be part of this community. We talked before recording, I do still work as a full-time engineer here in Washington, D.C., and I had a side business. I don't call it a side hustle. I call it a side heaven or haven, because that's the place that I really, when I go into it, I don't feel the time. I don't feel the effort. It doesn't look like work to me. It's something that I really enjoy doing it. And what I do basically in my Instagram platform, I guide men and women, mostly women, how to find that hidden talent and what is that hidden, let's say, gem or skills that you have already, but it might be sleep or in mute for some reason. You're raising kids, you're starting a full-time job, you're moving, you're getting married. So that skill is still on you, Wendy. It never die. It's something that you really enjoy doing it when you were a teenage, when you're 20, then life took over and you start doing the daily activity, paying bills and working full time. And that hidden gem's still there. So what I do, I guide in my coaching program, which is 1 month, 28 days to be specifically right. And I guide the client to have the clarity around that hidden gem or hidden talent and how to monetize it, how to share it, and how to celebrate it.
Oh, that's so cool. And I've run into that a lot in this journey of entrepreneurship, serving other business owners, that people don't understand what's monetizable, and especially if they've been in, like you said, another profession, working for maybe the government or for a big company and working on someone else's terms and kind of under their directive of what they think your talent is. How do you help people move out of that mental space of, it's not really what I'm supposed to be doing, it's what somebody else is telling me to do, to now following themselves?
That's a good question because we only live one life, right? I mean, how many more time I can waste in this? You are 40, you are 35, you are 50. How many more 30 and 40 and 50 you're going to live? Only once. So I had those clients, especially in the technology. Let's talk about example that I have. Most of those women in technology field. So they are engineers who make very good money. They have a house, they have a good husband, their kids are well in school, they are A student, everything look fine. And when they come in, before we had the contract for coaching, they have the 20 minutes complimentary with me. And 99.9 of them, they said the same thing. I have everything lined up. I feel two people, outsider, my life is perfect. I make money, everything's look right, but I don't look forward for Monday. And is it just the manager? No, I don't feel the joy. There is no fulfillment. So as a coach, as you know, you are a coach as well, we dig deep down and peel the onions. We ask so many questions to see what is the source of that unfulfillment. Where is this coming from? And most of them, they find out that they have everything lined up professional wise, but their soul is not there. They don't feel the impact. There is no sense of belonging. So they make the money, they go to work, they pay the bills, they go vacation, they take pictures on Instagram. They look perfect family on pictures and outsider. But inside them, they are not happy. There is no joy. There is no something there is that feeling that I'm leaving an impact. And you see it maybe in people who retire or they are wealthy, rich. They go and volunteer in the hospital or volunteers just to hospital of, like kids or cancer survivor or whatever is that good cause is. And when you ask them, they said, I'm very happy I'm doing this. It's a volunteer job, but I feel so fulfilled. So that's go back to that soul when your hidden talent, it's sleep. So you haven't bring it up. You've been just working IT, you've been working as an engineer to make money, but you know inside you, Wendy, that you really have more to offer. You have things inside you haven't bring it to the service yet. So that's when I come as a guide, as a coach, because I basically, as a coach, I'm a change agent. So I have to take you from A to B, and I have to find out why you are not able to find that hidden gem. Some of the client, they come with clarity. They will start the first session with you. They said, I'm an IT, I'm an engineer, but all my life I was very good athlete. I was very good in sport. I just put it aside, marriage, kids, and come and I left that alone. Or they are writer, or they are speaker, or they are artist. Most of the engineer I talk with, I don't know how they draw very nice. And when they show me their piece of art, I was like, why you are not sharing this? How dare you? You're keeping that for yourself. Share it with the world. And not necessarily I am encouraging them to monetize it for the money. And I will never encourage them to quit their 200, 300,000 job in order to this dream. This is not realistic, Wendy. What I'm trying to guide them around is to discover that hidden talent, to celebrate it and share it, and just teach others how to do that side business that they are doing. And for me, if you are an IT and you make good money, but you are a great writer, later on after your fifth book, if you are making $1 million, you're going to quit without me telling you to quit, because you're going to thrive so good in writing books. You don't need that 9 to 5 job. But at the beginning, I don't encourage that, because being realistic, we all have bills to pay. I mean, we both, we live in a very expensive area. I can just tell you, oh, Wendy, keep to dreaming. That doesn't pay your bills, right? You need the source of income. You need that money coming to your checking and saving account in order to make living and help the people around you. But at the same time, life deserves your skill. The world deserves what you have, talent inside you, to be shared, celebrated with yourself, and share it with others.
Are you tired of investing in courses that you don't finish? Wondering where to get on-demand professional development to grow an impact organization? I just made your search so much easier. Head to my online store, learngrowthrive.wendyveloz.com. This is where you can access our learning paths, a curated set of on-demand resources for grant writing, social business, holistic business, and nonprofit growth. If you're curious what's inside each learning path, explore them now at learngrowthrive.wendyveloz.com. Yeah, I think that's a great answer. And it's a great point that, you obviously don't want to make financial moves until you're ready as an entrepreneur, but you can have another job. Even if you're not finding fulfillment there, you can find fulfillment in your side job or your side business, whatever it is that you've decided to construct for yourself. So I think that's great advice for people who, I think where I was very similarly at the point of burnout with that other job that you making a good amount of money at. And I did in my story just jump headfirst with no plan and a bunch of savings, but I figured it out and struggled through that part. And I think you're right, like the bills to pay, not knowing if you're going to have enough money from the clients or where it's going to come from. But what I found is kind of like, as you're saying, oh well, it doesn't feel like work. As things are going along in your journey, money comes from those activities that don't feel like work. So there's some kind of a weird energetic alignment between you doing the things that you're meant to do in your purpose and people naturally wanting to pay you for those things. And I don't fully understand it even 3 years into business.
Yes, yes. It's come natural, because later on, this is not something that you really take an effort and sweat about it. It's your just natural skills and habit. For example, if you are a speaker, and I was like, wow, I heard you speaking on the stage, such an captivating, message, you compelling message, you drawn all the, listeners to follow your path. How you are doing it, you will not have an answer for that, because you are just a speaker by nature. You can take skills and training to be a better speaker, but that doesn't mean you don't have the seeds inside you. And I'm not saying that to discourage others. Oh, I don't have a hidden talent. I don't have a hidden skills. What does that mean? I'm a failure? No, it's not that. Each one of us has something. If you go on deep down, if you are really conscious and talking with yourself, with your inner self, saying, what I have done in my youth, what I have done in my 20, what was that one things that my sibling and my parents keep telling me you were doing it with nonstop. For me, I remember when I was in my 20, I was a swimming coach in my 20, right before I come to United States in 1997. When I was swimming, I didn't feel the time. And my auntie was, keep telling me, you've been in that swimming pool for hours. Do you feel the time? I didn't feel the time because I enjoy the swimming. Although I was not doing it for the money, but it was a skill sets that I have. And sport teach you discipline because I was not a good swimmer in the beginning. I started getting training and more classes until I become a swimming coach. So my example about me swimming in my 20, it's applied to any other skills you want to do: speaking, writing, painting. There's a rule of mastery, and Robert Greene always talk about that mastery skills. And I think Bruce Lee also said once that be scared not from the guy who did the kick 1,000 times, be scared from the one who did the same kick 1,000 times, because you gain that mastery. You're going to be so good at that things. Same thing with speaking, with writing, with coaching, with doing podcasts. If you go back and see your podcast first episode, you will be so proud of yourself that you are way better than before, because the more you do it, you're adding skill sets and you're going to be more comfortable, and it's going to become natural things. It's not going to be something. I said, Wendy, you don't seem tired when you do podcasts and coaching people. Said, that's my core genius. This is why I'm not tired, because I'm doing something that I really enjoy. And I know in the back of my head, I am leaving an impact and making change. So that's what is bring to the client and for the sake of our, listeners here in this podcast. When you do something that you really love, that you really put your effort and your time in it, it doesn't look like work. And you mentioned the best example to yourself when you left the corporate office, a corporate world, and you start your small business. That didn't mean that you're going to make $1 million the first year. It's not about the money, but you find your soul, you find yourself. Finally, I'm doing something that's taking me to my best version of myself, right? So it's you have to find that skills, and you have to work on that skill to make it better and better in order to make living of it.
Yeah, I think that's a great example of how the repetitiveness, I think I see even in my business, year after year, you try new things, but things get better when you know what you're doing. So as a new business owner, it's hard, you have to kind of try and then either experience a little bit of failure. And I don't want to say failure, I think lessons learned, and then do it again and do it again until you start saying, oh, I'm mastering or I'm perfecting something. So that's a really good example of how that works. And, just as you discover your purpose or what you're supposed to be doing, it may come naturally, but you may still have to practice.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it's in every profession. I hear once Joe Rogan, the famous podcast, he said,
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows Joe Rogan.
yeah, he said that be the hero of your own movie. What does that mean? I mean, be the best version of your own movie. This is your life. This is your world. You have to make it the best. So you're gonna be the hero of. And I agree with him. I mean, nobody else will come and hand you the manual or the steps to go to be your best version. It's your own. It's your own shoulder. This is your job. This is your life. You start somewhere. Maybe you start small. You are not making money, but towards the repetition of task and doing the same action, you're going to go somewhere that you never thought you're going to be there. And you mentioned something very profound a minute ago. You said you have to be clear where you're going. I always tell my client, without clarity, don't even talk to me. Clarity is so powerful. You can come to me and thinking that I'm a coach, you can vent about the stuff that's bothering you. You are all over the place. I want you to be precise and concise in your message to me. What do you exactly want me to take you from A to B? Don't tell me that you want to find a partner, getting pregnant, moving to Europe, finding a job, side business. That's so many things. You can focus. You're not going to master those. You have to be clear what is your next step. And when you make your next step, that step will take you to the next one. It's like it's a process. It's faces. This is not a magician world. This is not, they come to the coaching and they realize sometimes, oh, I don't see any change on me. Well, this is not a painkiller thing. This is a journey that you are taking with me. I'm charging you money, but you have to do the work. You have to do this is accountability partner. As you know, if I ask you, if you're telling me in the coaching, session, and ask you, what do you want to do in our 1 month contract, said, I want to be a better speaker. I want to have your confidence when I see you speaking in podcasts. Okay, what do you have done so far? Nothing, just listening. Well, that's not good enough. Just listen. I need your hands on. It's the same thing back to the swimming example I mentioned. When I was coaching client on swimming, I was not showing them YouTube how to swim. I was throwing them on the swimming pool because I want you to do the move and move your hands and legs so you can learn the swimming. Same thing when it's come to the coaching business. If you want to be a good speaker and you want to follow my leads, how I get booked in podcasts, how I sounds, like an executive, presence, or like I have the confidence. Didn't come easy. It's come all the way, all those years that I have been done for so many times. So you have to do the work. I need you to take training. I need you to learn how to prompt speaking, be brave enough to speak up in your current job and staff meeting, or just at like a wedding or like event. Just say, raise your hand, and I'm going to speak for 5 minutes. But you watching me, watching other speaker and watching YouTuber, how they speak, you're not going to learn that. I don't see your hands on. You have to do it yourself. Same thing with someone said, I want to be a writer. I want to have my own book. Okay, what do you have done? Nothing. I just listen to the writer. Listen to the writer. You want to be a writer, you have to write blogs, you have to take classes with Natalie Goldberg and Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy. You have to be hands-on that skill. You don't expect the thing will happen overnight. This is a journey. Again, you fall down. It's all feedback. It's not failure. It's all feedback.
Yeah, and I love that you said, especially with the coaching piece, that's the part that had a really hard time with when I first switched over to coaching, was people who didn't do the work but were still paying me to coach them, and it was a mind-boggling experience because I'm going, wait, you're paying me to keep you accountable. I'm trying to do so. You're making it incredibly difficult. And so, not doing the work means you're not going to get the results. So you really can't expect the results or expect your accountability buddy to get you there if you're not taking step by step to get there yourself. So I love that you mentioned that. And I know we have about a couple more minutes in this podcast. I like to focus on, people have heard all about what you are capable of doing as a coach, but I think people would love to hear about you and your story. So tell us a little bit about, where did you grow up? What do you do for your own well-being? Tell us more about who Sairan is.
Yeah, I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I'm an engineer. I'm a coach. I don't know what else I would say. And I'm not saying that to brag about my skills. I'm not bragging. This is what I enjoy doing. Yes, I did work for so many years as an engineer, but I knew when I finished my master towards quitting my doctor program, I'm still in love with engineering, but I knew inside myself there is other skills that I have that I can leave an impact and change. So I decided not just to be an engineer who go to work 9 to 5 and just make a living and paying bills and just being a good mom and good wife. There's a lot of younger engineers, or even not engineer. There's a lot of younger version of me. They need guidance. I came to this country many, many years ago, 28 years ago. I was like 26 in my 20, young, not married, not knowing about much about the culture. And I adapt the change. I kept what's work core value, what's the good principles I have from my previous culture, and I adopt and I learn what is work best for me here. So being international commerce, starting not only from zero, it was under zero because I only have $300 with me when I came, but that doesn't mean you cannot make it. You have to be committed. Don't just dream. When my client come, they said, I want to. I said, are you dreaming? I want you to be committed. because without commitment, this is just a noise and you are not doing anything.
Yes, yes, the being committed is a really big important part of that. But funny enough, I also started my life, I remember in grad school, moved from Los Angeles to New York with $300 in my bank account. There's something magical about $300 that you're able to, like, maybe back then, not now, you were able
Also,
to just
magic.
get by for enough
Yeah.
months that you could continue to live.
Maybe there is a magic thing about that $300.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
now it's probably more like 3,000, but
Oh,
then
yes,
20 something
definitely,
years ago, 300 was a good number.
definitely, definitely, definitely.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I appreciate, the idea of coming from another culture, having to understand what's going on in this culture and not only go through that process, but then find yourself as a young woman in a profession that's really male dominated. Like I'm sure there was so many things there. So the theme of this season has been redefining success. And I'm curious if you have a story or something you can tell us about how you've had to redefine success for yourself.
Beautiful question. I'm happy you asked that. I think in the beginning of our life, we think success is making money. Success is having a fancy title on LinkedIn. Success is $2 million house on the beach. Success is a handsome husband. Success is a kids who has a student. We have so many different definition of the success. Oh, success is achievement. If I just did this master, I'm succeeding. If I just buy this house, next house, I'm succeeding. If I have another $1 million, succeeding. To me, success is progress. You are successful if you are progressing. And I'll give you an example. You are a successful podcast host because your episode now is 10 times better than the one from 3 years ago. That's success because you are progressing. There is this small bite you progressing, not because your podcast is Joe Rogan competing with Joe Rogan. No, you are successful because your podcast session episode many years ago, now you're doing 10 times better. That's success because you are not stagnant. You are not in the same place. Success to me to be a better version of yourself every year. That's success. And that's what is lead to joy and happiness because I don't want my client just to have the short-term happiness. Oh, I got what you said. I'm happy now. No, I want you to have that joy along the journey. I want you to have that joy spirit, like you always want more to learn. I want you to be student the rest of your life. I don't want you to say, oh, the thing I told you in the session and me earning my master, that's success. That's not a success. As you know, you are an entrepreneur, successful woman. This is an endless journey. There is no finite, right? There's infinity. This is infinity steps. You keep going. So success is progress.
And it always looks different. I think sometimes you get to a new point and you're at a point that you thought maybe you could never be at. And it's always important to reflect and be grateful for that, whatever you call it, whether it's success or movement or whatever in your journey, because sometimes we can just keep wanting more and not realize how far we've actually come. So I definitely appreciate that. And then just, thinking about you and how you continue to do what you do, how do you maintain your own well-being so you can continue to show up and serve other people?
That's very important because if I am not centered in my best mental and physical being, I cannot give back. I do this reset once a while when I know that I'm not able to perform and I see that my outcomes is not at 100%. So I'm not giving all my 100% effort to you. I just switch off. I just mute. And when I mute from everything. I mute from work. I mute from my business. I'm not answering any email at work. I take off. I have many hours annual leave and I just take off from the business because I need to reflect back and see why I reached this point, why I'm not able to think clearly. Something missing here. And no one else can answer that question except yourself. Don't expect the answer will be from outsider, even if your partner know you so well. The answer is with you. So you have to mute, you have to pause, and there is a power in that pause, such power in that mute, because you only hear your voice. And you ask yourself the question, why I reached this point? What is the universe trying to tell me here? Why I'm not able to perform? let me mute, let me pause. Then when you gain the clarity, you can bounce back.
Oh, that's such a great message. There was another podcast guest who was talking about the power of a sabbatical and how having that planned pause can prevent you from getting to that point where you're like, okay, now I really need to take it. Because I know that it's coming up. Yeah, it's always fascinating to me because, I think we work ourselves too hard sometimes trying to make something work that we're passionate about because if as you said early on, it doesn't feel like work, so you may not even recognize that you're pushing yourself to that limit and either getting not as great outcomes like you mentioned, or you might be feeling not as aligned as you used to with your actions. And sometimes it's important to just take that step back and stop. Do nothing.
Yeah, and it shows like as much as you can be so smart and emotional intelligent or IQ, EQ, it doesn't matter. If you are not fully present, people will see it on you. You say, "Are you okay?" I feel like they see the energy, they feel the energy, right? So they ask you the question if you are really with them in order to move on. So you want to be fully present so you can give your best.
Yeah, and especially as a coach or anyone who's in client serving roles, if that's what you're choosing to do, showing up your best is the best you can do to serve those people. So it does become kind of a catch-22 when you're not feeling well and you can't serve them, then you don't make money. It all sort of spirals. So it's important, I think, to tackle that before it becomes a problem. But just kind of getting ready to close up the episode, I wanted you to just give a little infomercial for yourself. Tell everyone where can they find you, what can they look for from you, and how might they connect with you after the show.
Yes, thank you. So I'm in only two platforms. LinkedIn. If you look at my LinkedIn, it's all engineering. It sounds boring for some because it's all about technology and how to be an engineer and thrive as an engineer. So my LinkedIn is mainly about my job, and people reach out to me in LinkedIn because they admire the way how I mix the skills and how I lay out my platform there, and they ask about consultation about that if I am willing to scale at their page and make it look better and sounds better. So that's in the technology world. On my Instagram, Sairan Aqrawi, one word, you're going to have my platform in business. I have 28 days packages for men and women. Men normally reach out to me when they need me as an ACC for the certified because I'm a mentor coach. So they hire me for the 10-hour session for certification to be an ACC. And sometimes they just hire me in hourly basis or monthly basis according to what they are trying to achieve. I just now start taking group. So meaning like you can be 2 or 3 women. I will meet you 1 month. If you are local, I can meet you in person. And it depends on each one's goal for the session, what they are trying to achieve for the coaching session. And I make it 28 days, not a 30 days, because the last 2 days of the month, you're going to just celebrating because you're going to gain clarity and it's all come with guarantees. If you don't see the outcome that I promise you at the beginning of the contract, I will refund you the full amount.
Well, that's impressive. Money back guarantee. I love that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Sarah, thank you so much for reaching out to me and following me and just for finding me and then coming on the podcast. We had such a great conversation the first time we talked, and I knew you'd be a lovely voice to be on this platform. So thank you for being here. And to all of our guests, thank you for joining us for another episode. We're continuing to rock out with season 3, Redefining Success, here on the Social Impact Level Up podcast. And we'll be back in another 2 weeks with another episode. It's getting close to the end of the year, the end of 2024. Looking forward to 2025. Can't wait to have you continue the season with us. Take care. Thanks for joining us for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the conversation, and we look forward to having you come back. If you're curious about something we shared, make sure you check in the show notes below. And do you want the secret to make your nonprofit or business more sustainable and more profitable? Hop into my Learn, Grow, Thrive University, where I give you exclusive access to resources, mini courses, and templates for free. All you need to do is sign up at wendybelos.com/university. See you next episode.